All right, hello everyone. Welcome to Everything Under the Sun, the Thursday happy hour live stream where we talk about anything and everything. We got six people here today. We got Kim Strickland, Laurel Kurtz, Jenna Stowe. Is that your last name?
Low.
Lowe, Jenna Lowe. Okay, Debbie D and Jay Z. All right, so the first thing on the docket is the asteroid. Jenna, what's the asteroid?
It's a comet.
What's a comet? What is it?
I don't really know. People just keep asking me about it. So I figured it's topical. Its name is Atlas. I think it also is named 31. And it was being tracked because it's kind of moving, from what I've been told, in like an erratic way. It's going to come kind of closer to Mars's orbit, from what I've read too, when it passes by us around the 29th or the 30th of October. So I just wanted, the people who've been asking me about it are either like metaphysical type people or else astrologers. And so I was kind of just taking more of an astrological approach to it, how like every kind of body in space has some sort of impact or frequency and we experience it in some way. So I was like, I wonder if this is going to have some like kind of big impact on us.
Interesting. Does anyone know about the comet Atlas 31?
No, but I just looked up the mythology, wondering if we could gain some insight that way, but of Atlas. And I kind of got the brief AI rundown, and so now I'm opening Wikipedia. But I guess like the first thing that I noticed was that Atlas is associated with astronomy and is credited for guiding humans in the field. So that's kind of interesting.
Interesting. Well,
Thinking of
Jenna, when you're saying it's going to go near Mars's orbit, like near Mars itself, or?
No, I think just its like orbit path. Like the closest it'll get to us is kind of like the closest that Mars would get to us.
Oh, okay. Because Andy had just mentioned that Mars and Mercury being conjunct. I was wondering if Atlas is going to be over joining that party or what.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. That's interesting.
Okay, I'm looking
party?
at...
There's going to be a comet party?
It's my kind of party.
I'm just looking up. Okay, the 31 Atlas is the third confirmed interstellar object discovered in our solar system, identified by the Atlas survey on July 1st, 2025, which must be why it's called Comet Atlas, because it was identified by the Atlas survey. This comet is notable for its hyperbolic orbit, which confirms its origin from outside our solar system, and its high speed. It poses no threat to Earth and will reach its closest point to the sun on October 30th before continuing its journey back into interstellar space. So it came from like somewhere else, huh?
Yeah, for Halloween, I guess.
It's like
doing a flyby.
It's like an alien sent a comet or something. Do you guys remember Halley's Comet?
Yeah.
It was so 80s when they like measured the temperature of Halley's Comet. I remember my dad, he's an astrophysicist, coming to teach my class about it, and he like built a Halley's Comet out of like snow and ice, and like it was falling apart in the classroom. But okay, so you never hear about comets in astrology. You always hear about like asteroids and stuff.
I think probably because they're too fast to really like build any sort of theme to create a lasting impact. But it just might be interesting to think like what weird energy that couldn't really be explained by the transits did we feel?
I'm looking up astrological significance. It says from the astrological perspective, the interstellar comet Atlas 31 is interpreted as a harbinger of significant change, new paradigms, and spiritual alignment, amplified by its unique cosmic journey. As a visitor from outside our solar system, it symbolizes the emergence of new ideas and information from beyond our familiar boundaries.
Oh, I like that.
So it's going to come, mess things up, and leave?
Pretty much. You're definitely under the mood of Atlas 31, Jay-Z. Whatever your mood is, it's definitely from this comet.
definitely. I could feel some like external influence, and
Yeah.
it's disturbing my usual even keeled nature.
What makes
Means
me
you're
want to know?
human. You're human. That's it
Well,
happens, you know.
yes.
I was having this conversation with somebody who shall remain unnamed today, but he was like, I was like, "How's it going with you and your girlfriend?" And he's like, "Oh, well, she's having a lot of hormonal stuff and ups and downs, and I'm angry because of XYZ." And I was like, "Well, she does have a square in her chart, and Mars is hitting it." And he's like, "Celestials have no influence on us. Don't blame the planets." I was like, "You're blaming hormones and like also like other things. I don't understand why hormones are a better blame than the planets. I don't understand." And now we could blame Atlas 31 if we want to blame somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Due
Like,
to
do you
its
guys think
erratic
it's
path.
do you think it, to say that like your mood is caused by the planets is blaming the planets, or is that just attributing? I mean, what is that?
I think it's just an alternate perspective. And when you look at it as a cosmic influence, there's also cosmic solutions. So why not entertain that?
Hey. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like if you attribute your mood to hormones, I don't understand how that's better than attributing it to the planets, which I guess there are hormonal solutions, like Jenna's saying. I guess it depends on which solutions you go after, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it sort of seems like there's not a disconnection. They're the same thing, like depending, I guess, on how transits are hitting your personal chart, etc. But it's like a manifestation of, and so solutions to hormones might also be like a way to remediate that, but it
You
just
guys want to
doesn't
hear
seem
something
separate
crazy?
to me.
You want to hear something crazy? I don't think it's separate either. There's a Greek word hormes, from which we get hormones, and it's the urges, and they were attributed to planets. The
Which
Greek
ones? Which
hormes,
planets?
all the planets would create hormes, which were urges. And it's like if you under a Mars transit, you definitely have the urge to like yell or scream or be cranky. Sorry, Jeezy.
Yeah.
Well, I think like if you take a step back from even that, it's like, why do humans need to attribute things to causes? Like, right? So now we're talking about, well, should it be this cause or that cause? But why do we even need to say like, oh, this is because of that? It's, I think, because we want to feel some kind of like safety or control in understanding or something.
It helps ground it. Like maybe your friend doesn't want to think about the cosmos because that doesn't help him feel grounded. Whereas like a physical, animalistic reasoning is grounding to him.
Yeah. I wasn't judging it. I just felt I got yelled at for blaming the planets when I'm like, you're blaming PMS or you're blaming hormone. Like, I feel like it's similar to just call it hormones. Like it's still almost out of your control as much as the planets. Yeah.
It's like the weather too. It's like, you're not going to like blame the rain just because you don't want to get wet, or or like, it's too hot out
Blame
here.
it on the
Almost that sun.
rain. Remember that song
Yeah.
by Milli Vanilli?
And
Well, I
that's
think too, there's like, it's even one more disconnected, because like if you blame your own mood on something, you get to choose what you want to blame it on, because nobody can tell what you're feeling anyway, and nobody even knows whether or not you really are feeling that. But then to blame what somebody else is feeling or acting on something that's unprovable anyway seems to me like a couple of degrees removed.
it's kind of what I was thinking too. Like there can be multiple truths, and that person's assessment isn't necessarily the truth. Like they are just guessing that it's hormones. But and maybe that's true, but there can still be other reasons beyond that. There can be multiple things happening. So
Yeah, the fact that the issue was really the mood they were having that they didn't like, because why else would you have to blame something on something? And like maybe the answer is acceptance. Acceptance is that crankiness exists, or maybe we could go to surrender and acceptance instead of causality. Like, trying to eradicate all crankiness from life, maybe that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Or personalizing it. Like what if instead it's like crankiness has entered my aura, and then you don't really have to identify with it.
I think the Jupiter square sun Jupiter in Cancer square Sun in Libra could bring on a little crankiness.
Oh, that's happening too. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over emotionality, yeah, and especially with with a one-on-one person, it's kind of like yikes. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Libra being the couple.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's true. Okay, there's another question on the Facebook. I have to go look at it. Or who? Let's see. Feel free to talk about anything you guys want, but there was another question on the Facebook.
I love thinking about the square between Cancer and Libra, since they're both considered such like more gentle zodiac signs, but it's like their kind of friction comes in when they're like, Libra really wants to relate and be emotional together, whereas Cancer is like, no, I'm trying to retreat and do this myself. So it's kind of like a cute square in a way.
I have 2 Libra Cancer squares, which I can speak to because I have a Venus in Libra square Jupiter in Cancer and a Sun in Libra square Mars in Cancer. And I know for me, what it does is like I have to like commune with one person and then craft for them. Like that, it is kind of a cute square. It's like commune and craft is like how I do it. But yeah, I like retreat and go off by myself to like think about the person kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So. Okay, I have so the other one was about the Aquarius age, but that was from Poptus Sanctify, who's not here. So I have a question for you guys. It's real. Okay, here's a real question. Okay, so this came up today because of like merging health insurance questions. Like I have a tooth that needs a crown, and like I don't have dental insurance. And then Shane was like, "Oh, well, I have insurance. Do you want to merge insurance, or whatever?" And so this is my question for you guys. How can we merge with people financially through marriage or insurances and stuff when we know that they're going to have transits for the rest of their life and they might do things that we don't like on those transits? Like, because all I can feel is like, oh yeah, I'm going to merge with you, and then you're going to do something on a transit, I'm going to have to dump you. Like what? How do we commit to people not knowing what the transits will bring?
Well,
I'm going to say that, listen, being that I've been married to my husband for 13 years, he's on my insurance. Okay. And, I'm kind of a dreamer when it came to relationships. It's like, oh, it's going to be wonderful. It's a lot of work. The thing is, I really admire the fact that you are aware of those, blockages that you're going to have, or these like, stop signs or detours, or the fact that you are aware of that is you just have to, you're going to have, like if you decide to do this, it's going to be for a long term, and there might be arguments, and to be, that's realistic to think that, okay, well there is, but if you have, this is the other thing. My husband and I have an amazing symmetry in our charts, and but some of it is like my first husband. We have the same birthday. If you have Mars in your in your 7th house, both of you, that's not going to be working too well. There is things in your chart that you blend together that you just know, you could see what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen, and so you decide, well, I'm going to spend, $20,000 on my whatever, on my teeth, or I'm going to, I have to compromise this if I'm getting this offer and I'm going to be with this person for the rest of my life. Hopefully, that you will. There's things that you just have to accept that's part of the gig.
Yeah, speaking of insurance, it's interesting. I was thinking about your finances. Initially, I was like, well, you could get on Medicaid, but maybe not because you have your interpreter job. And so then I was thinking about like the Affordable Care Act, which interestingly is why the government shutdown is happening. It's a fight over whether or not those insurance premiums will still exist. And if they no longer exist, you wouldn't be able to afford that. So I say, get on his insurance, and who cares if like in 4 months or 20 years something happens to where you're not on it, but go get your teeth done in the meantime. And then if you for some reason aren't on his insurance anymore, it'll be the same as it is now. So like what's the harm?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Jay-Z.
Well, I could give you my perspective as my lawyer forbids me to get married without a real solid prenup.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
we're not getting married on paper. Like, there's no freaking way I would do that.
but that's what I'm just the concept of a prenup, like, is the reason for it is to like talk about these things ahead of time. So maybe kind of like what Debbie D was saying, it's like, yeah, it's like you're talking about it ahead of time and thinking about it ahead of time, and I think that puts you ahead of most people.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
but the other thing I was going to say is, what about like, having a locked chain, right? That you've made some kind of an agreement. What was it that allowed you to make that agreement, right? Was it that there was some relief valve? There is a protocol that you can change or that you can use to get out of the situation that you've both agreed on ahead of time too?
There's always a choice as to if you get to that point where it's amazing that you really can see ahead and say, what if. So what if? So
Right,
what
that's
if, like,
what I'm
this
saying.
isn't working, and then it gets really kind of messy. But the bottom line is there is a choice to. It'll cost you on some level, but you know what? I'll tell you, taking care of your teeth without insurance is like, just throw yourself off a bridge. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, but it's like I've been taking care of my health, and like I'm a freaking riot girl, third wave feminist. I'm just like, no one's gonna control me over my freaking teeth. Like, I will not be controlled for teeth. Like I would rather pay thousands of dollars for a tooth and be controlled. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, that's the
That's
choice.
your Leo and Saturn, or your
Yeah.
Saturn and Leo, rather.
Yeah. Well, I guess what you guys are saying is it's not really, marriage isn't really a one-way door decision because you can change it back later.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I guess this isn't necessarily about me. I was just using it as fodder for a larger existential question of like, okay, like how can astrologers, for example, not cry at weddings or not cry at baby births when we see all the transits that are going to happen? It's like the baby will be born and then they will struggle sometimes.
And that was the thing. We had that conversation when we were doing, somebody was talking about a wedding chart, as an electional chart, and like, oh, this is going to be it's going to be a great marriage. No, it's going to be a great wedding. That doesn't mean anything about the marriage because the transits keep going, It's not like, so you could have a beautiful wedding, but what about the marriage? That's not a significator of how good the marriage is going to be. It's going to be more about what how the wedding is going to be that one day.
And we deserve our turmoils and traumas. That's life. Like there's
Yeah, there's lessons to be
Yeah.
learned, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Sure.
thing. Do you want the baby to have a life like this, like that was boring and or do you want the baby to like have a full life full of crazy ups and downs and experiences and learning?
But remember too that this might be just evolutionary astrology, so I'm not telling anyone they have to believe in this, but it's like the transits and everything that you're going to go through in your life are exactly what you need for your soul's evolution. It's what you signed up for to come here. So yes, there will be a lower expression of things and it might be painful, but maybe the next transit you learned that lesson the hard way and now you don't need to repeat it, and maybe you're going to find the opportunities and keep going and moving forward. Because like my marriage was in June, and our marriage chart is probably one that you wouldn't think was ideal. We have a 29 degree Scorpio ascendant, and at that point Uranus was at 29 degrees Taurus, so it's like right on our descendant, and some people might be really uncomfortable with Uranus at 29 degrees on a descendant, but I think it's kind of perfect because we are like these very big weirdos within our relationship, and other people kind of look to us as a strange yet authentic representation of what coupling can look like.
Interesting. I think this comes from me, being a remedy astrologer. It's like you watch people go through insane manias. Like I deal with like the weirdest T squares and like, charts where people are like doing real ill behaved things and things like that. And it's like, those things lie dormant in the chart until transits hit them. And that's what annoys me is like, okay, this person that you're going to marry or whatever, everyone's like so romantic about marriage. And I'm just like, oh no, that person's like a dormant a vestibule of manias. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I just don't know how to really trust a human when they're like moving objects, basically.
I agree with Jenna, though. I really agree with her as far as this. It's like, you may even be kind of side blinded on a very, kind of just surface level, but deep down, you have chosen this. Same thing as you've chosen your birth with the parents that you chose. You choose everything, whether you know it like up front or if it's deep down inside. You choose this for a reason. It is part of what your life path is supposed to be like. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let me give you like a real example. These are the things this is like my chart worries about. Okay. So, but now I have a Mars square sun in the 5th house. My sun's in the 5th. Okay. So, and Jupiter's on it right now. Okay. So this is where I get real protective. I'm like, what if you marry somebody, they start like giving you health insurance and give you financial gains, and then they start like being a molester of your child?
Oh, well then, yeah, you have to
Kick
get
their
out
ass
of that.
out. Yeah.
Okay. So
But the lesson there is that you've gained strength to know that you know what your boundaries are.
okay, interesting.
Yeah, and you got your teeth fixed before you found out.
And maybe that
Yeah.
child came into the world to experience a mother that stands up for them.
Interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Because you see, because like you always hear those stories of, and I think astrologers are the ones to kind of deal with this story of like, the boyfriend moves in and everything's all good, and then all of a sudden they turn into a creep, or like, you know what I'm talking. You've heard that story, haven't you? I mean, Jenna, you have kids, right?
Yes.
Like, do you ever worry about stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. Now that we homeschooled and my kids lived a very la-di-da sheltered life for a while, and now my daughter goes to a charter school in the city, and just last week an unhoused person beat up a ninth grader, so they had an assembly about it, and my daughter was like, well, can I fight back? Like, she's asking these innocent questions like she could actually do that. And so yeah, it's a very real thing, but I think at the same time she has her own independent sovereign journey, and I can't as a human possibly imagine all the manifestations of what her soul is here and incarnated to do and move through those experiences in a way that accumulates to some growth that I can't see, especially in the age of Aquarius, to tie that in.
Oh, nice. So I hear what you guys are saying. Like the overarching consensus here is that to not go into these things and commit takes away a certain amount of journeying that a human soul might do.
Yeah.
Like, JZ, how do you feel about the journey you went through in your last situation? If you feel comfortable talking about that.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I know there were like benefits that I derived, and that's why I did it and was in. I wouldn't give those up for to have avoided the setbacks.
So you would have preferred. Sorry, someone's TV on. But so you would have preferred to walk through the journey than to have been denied the journey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Kim, is your TV on?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, hang on a minute.
I agree with you, Jay-Z. There's been a lot of things that I went through in my life that people are like, wow, that's so unfortunate. But then it's also like, well, no, because in the same way that like you could say the story of Chiron is unfortunate. Like, yeah, it is. But think about the vessel for healing that journey enabled him to become.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. All right. Well, those are good lessons on like why to commit even though you're an astrologer and you can see transits coming. Go through the journey. But we talked about that in enlightenment theory, Jay-Z, right? Like like some people think enlightenment means there's no drama or anything like that, but what a truly enlightened person knows is that they want to see the movie of life go up and down, because that is the movie, is it goes
Yeah.
up and down, you know.
Yeah, we can't give up life just because we have rainy days or,
Mhm.
you know, there's a storm coming.
Mhm.
We don't give up on life just because of that. And you don't want to give up on a valuable person in your life for, you know, because something might happen.
Mhm.
Honestly, that's kind of one reason that I tend to sort of stray away from electional astrology, for example, um, because I'm afraid that I'm like that level of control, I'll like miss out on something that like my soul was destined to experience. And not to say that that's not true of electional astrologers. Maybe their soul has a different path and that makes sense for them. But I kind of prefer to like the serendipity of it. Like I chose this time. Now I'm going to look and see like what's actually happening and then how that manifests. And I always feel like it's perfect. Like there, I never have, it always just feels right on and whatever it is. Yeah. So,
I agree.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
This is so interesting because we were talking to Ricky Williams yesterday, and you know he's a football player, and so he was talking about like approaching astrology like a football player. It's like, okay, you have a scouting report, you have a game plan, and then he's saying like when you look at the planets, you could be like, here's a scouting report, like Mars is coming up onto my Mercury right now, and Atlas 31's coming in, and that's the scouting report for this week, and then you're supposed to like basically dominate from the report you have. You're not supposed to just be like, you don't go into a football game like whatever play happens to us. Like you're supposed to be like using it like a scouting report, which is very different than what kind of Laurel's saying. So what do we think of that dance of like being passive to the planets or being like more active?
Definitely be active, but I mean, you could look at the, you know, there's always the shadow and there's the light in every situation. And as remediators, we look at that with like, oh no, look at this. I think I'm just going to stay in bed for the rest of my life. No, you're going to look at it and say, you know, what can we do to make this work? You know, that's what you're going to do.
Mhm. And I do think of kind of remediation as a different layer. Like that's not totally what I was talking about as far as electing like future times to do X, Y,
Oh
or
no,
Z or
no, yeah,
not doing something. Yeah,
there is no perfect chart when electional, and that was one
yeah,
of the things that my teacher told me. There is no perfect. You choose a time and a date that works the best, you know, that you can, but you'll always find something, you know, that doesn't. That's like, ugh, I don't know
yeah.
about this,
What's
you
that
know.
one happening? Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
also a great way to embrace change. Like I had to cancel my original wedding date because my brother couldn't make it, and he was one of the small group of people that was invited, and he was like, he felt so bad and was all anxious. Nope, the universe used you as a vessel to point me in a different direction. That's totally fine.
hmm
Yeah, I think you have to have a roll with the punches attitude, or just go with the flow attitude if you're going to have any happiness in life. I mean, if you get too controlling, I like the letting the magic happen like side of things. I'm not saying that's the bad side. I'm just saying there's like a spectrum of control that we can take with, the planets, kind of thing.
yeah.
All right. Well, anyone else want to bring up a topic?
I have a quick topic. Do you guys work with the outer planets like beyond Pluto?
Like the trans, whatever they call them. Yeah.
Trans-Neptunian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No, okay. I'm
I
new.
don't
Like,
either.
However, it was very interesting because my teacher taught us that. She taught us in the 90-degree wheel and all that stuff. But the one thing that she said was very interesting. Like the ancients, they only knew up to Saturn until, a couple of thousand years later. What's interesting about that is like Neptune was as much of a kind of they didn't know it was really there. They were kind of postulating that it was out there, just like they are with these trans-Neptunian planets. So now they're coming closer to actually identify them. And I was just having a conversation with somebody about that recently. I could just see that my grandsons are going to be using that in their charts, those trans-Neptunian objects and everything. And they're going to be more tangible. They're going to be more, manifested, because they're, right now they're just kind of postulations. They're not really anything out there, except for we think that's out there.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I just recently started working with them, and Orcus is very tightly conjunct my sun. And that one I'd been working with for a while, but I hadn't done the full scope of all of them yet. And so it's interesting to me to watch where other people have certain placements that I feel that I've leaned into, like Orcus with the authenticity, and like really, well, for me, I think it's the reason why I was kind of gullible as a child. Like I just anticipated everyone else being as authentic. And Andrea, I don't know if you know this, but you have Orcus conjunct your Mars. So it's almost like you're very authentic with your actions. And maybe that's why that conversation came up around like, should I take this action? Can I actually trust that this is going to go well? Like as in there's like an authenticity to the way that you approach martial expressions.
Interesting.
Brian, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, Brian Peterson, who's in our Rose City Constellation Circle, loves Orcus, and something that he's studied, and he has said that somehow it plays a part as like an astrologer signature in somebody's chart, and also mentioned Andrea's Orcus in particular. But he would be interesting to have in a group conversation about asteroids and Orcus in particular.
We should see if he can come next week.
Yeah.
He's a Magi astrologer. He's really interesting. He could talk to us about Magi astrology.
What is that?
Laurel, how would you?
They do I know it's all about midpoints, and it's very asteroid focused.
Oh, I love midpoints.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Did you remember when we were at the bookstore and there was like a midpoints book in the used bookstore?
Yeah. Jay-Z picks up this book. He goes, "What is this midpoint thing?" I said, "Oh my God, midpoint." And I bought the book.
Yeah.
What do you use midpoints for? Oh, sorry, Laurel. Go ahead.
I was just going to add one more thing. There's a Magi ephemeris. So go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the midpoints, I think I mentioned it once before. What's interesting about midpoints is it connects two planets that may not have any aspect to each other. But either whether direct or indirect midpoints, they pull them together. And that third point, or that planet ruling that point, or that planet that is in the midpoint, really kind of is fascinating. It works all the time for me. Every time I have a midpoint, I get very excited about those things. Because they kind of pull these two planets together that don't have, you're like, like somebody has something about their relationships, and there's nothing in there that's really not showing. And then you'll find out that there's like this Saturn, like is a midpoint between their, Jupiter and Venus or something.
Isn't that kind of fishing in the chart though? Like just trying to make stuff work. Sorry, I'm being a little bit of a devil. I'm a purist. So I don't use.
Yeah, but I mean, actually, the ancients used midpoints. They did.
Really?
So yes, that's a traditional thing to do, to look at the midpoints. It's not a modern thing. It was something that the ancients did. They would look at the midpoints.
Does anyone else use midpoints?
Yeah, I have a lot of midpoints in my chart that then are that midpoint as opposed to something, and I find that very useful. Like the midpoint between my sun and my moon is exactly opposite my Mars, and my Mars has no other aspects, and it's like its declination is almost 29, so it's like very out of bounds. It's unaspected and out of bounds, so it's very wild a little bit. So it's nice to have a midpoint to kind of pull it together and ground it, especially a midpoint of the luminaries.
Interesting.
Is that a yod
cool.
though?
A yod? A yod? Oh yeah. Well, no. And if say you have something in between that sextile.
Yeah, mine's a septile, so it's not a yod. It's
those are so
irrational.
Cool. Septiles, they are connected to Chiron.
Oh, really?
Yes, because when you have your Chiron return at 51 degrees, 50, right? So when you're talking about when you're talking about progressions, right, or solar arc directions, 1 degree, right, 1 degree. So when your sun is when you're 51 years old, and you're going to have your first your first, it's going, actually, it's not the sun, it's the Chiron. So when you have your Chiron return, that's 51 degrees. That means that, yes, your solar arc and your progressed sun are going to be making a septile to your natal sun.
Oh, wow.
That's wild, because my Chiron is conjunct my moon, so it's already making a natal septile to my. I have like a septile sailboat. I'm very
That's cool. It's
cool.
and it's related to numerology, to the number 7.
Yeah, this is I have
Magical.
a lot to ponder.
Yeah. I
This
just
is
went through my
crazy.
Chiron return, and it was very significant.
Yeah.
Tell us all the juicy details online here.
About my Chiron return.
Yeah.
We should all,
well,
if
one
you've
thing-
reached it, yeah, we should talk
Yeah.
about it.
So I think the most significant thing is that so I lived with my father for 25 years, and then at the end of his life I caregave for him, and I learned, so it was during my Chiron return exact that he passed away. And so my Chiron is 19 degrees Aries, and his Venus is 19 degrees Aries, and so we've always had this Chiron connection. And I think, like, most significantly about that is that when that loss and like the grief I experienced from that loss, because when you have synastry with somebody forever and then they're gone, like that energy is also gone. And so it's an Aries, and so I feel like in a way that I am like kind of on my own. It's in my 12th house. I've gone through a lot of mental health. The grieving process is super extended. And so I'm just kind of like learning how, given I lived with him for 25 years, I mean, I'm now learning kind of like how to do things on my own. Like, and I'm 52 years old now. So
Wow.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of the most significant thing. It kept on going over it, so it was just like
That's
very
really poignant
extended.
that there was like a wounding there, or re-wounding or something, but it was like right on his Venus. That's just like really poignant, you know?
Yeah, and he has always held like a lot of pain. He had like a really um, hard life, and I think that I was sort of just born into like karmically holding that myself, even though my childhood was not like we didn't share a lot of that in common, and but I just sort of like held this thing as like I inherited it or something. So yeah.
Interesting. Jay-Z, do you want to talk about your existential situation online? Just for fun and drama?
Let's see. So I'm not sure what my existential situation is being kicked off by, but I'm finding myself like not motivated to do a whole bunch of things. Like, I mean, there are things that I could do that but I don't really feel like I'm compelled to do them. And I think it has to do with the changing of the seasons. It's getting cold here. Or maybe it has to do with like Saturn backing onto my Venus-Saturn conjunction again, because I'm in my Saturn return. And I swear, this is the last time Saturn is backing up and then going forward again. And by January, it will be clear. But yeah, so I don't know, because Andy, you and I changed our agreement and schedules, so I have more free time in my schedule now.
Mm-hmm.
And also, my erstwhile boyfriend and I broke up, so now I have more time, and I'm lost in this existential "what do I want to do?" question.
Wow. Interesting.
Well, it's Saturn in Pisces in your 12th, you said, right?
Yeah, on my
And
Saturn
Neptune
Pisces conjunction.
transiting Neptune's kind of there too. So it's like, go be alone in a spiritual way and just persevere. Like, don't get up when you're hungry. Keep meditating. You know, that kind of vibe. And the universe is almost like, all right, let's clear these people out. Let's clear these obligations out. I'm throwing books. Let's make space for this time, for whatever this spiritual calling is that you're called.
And more yoga.
More
More
yoga.
Yeah.
I don't know if there could be more yoga. Well, and so I'm more of like an activist of like, okay, so Saturn backing up to Venus, Saturn, like the concretizing of some Venusian thing, like perhaps like a bigger project might be very like if you commit to like one of my favorite Saturn remedies is scheduling things
Mhm.
like even self-scheduling. So it's like you could say until January, February when Saturn's off there, like you work on your album or something, whatever Venusian project you would want to concretize or do, like you schedule yourself to do it and like you kind of I don't know that's kind of how I approach big Saturn transits. I don't let the depression take hold of me. I schedule it. That's kind of what I do.
Like, do you want to be depressed or do you want to be exhausted?
That's
That's straight from Stephen Forrest. I can't take credit for that.
Wait, and speaking of power, I need to plug in my machine before it dies.
I don't know. I also like your Saturn seems like really focused and super processed oriented and like you can kind of take a lot. Like you can I don't know how else to put that really, but like your attention span, you're just really when you put your mind to it, like you're beating. It's like that's hyper process,
Oh yeah, that's
like
true.
Andrea. Yeah.
That's definitely true. You know what's
Yeah.
weird is that like I actually don't feel like doing creative things like artwork or like I played guitar the other day because I'm like, oh, now I have this time I can play guitar, but I don't really feel like it. But I, like once you start going, then you feel like it, But all I want to do lately is write computer code. And then I've been like learning lately about how to tell AI to write the code for you. So I'm on the cusp of a new project.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because Saturn and Venus seems like it would kill the creativity vibe. I mean, like, no, really?
I have it natally, and I'm really creative. Like that's my whole thing. So I don't know. Also, Saturn is exalted in Libra, which is the Venusian sign, and so I think they like each other.
Do you have any pink sapphires?
No, I don't.
That's a
I have
really good
rose
blend
quartz.
of their energy.
Okay, cool.
Wait, your Saturn Venus conjunction's in Gemini, right, Laurel?
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, like I've always been an artist, and I likewise Saturn does not I think I commented this on your Facebook, but I feel fairly confident. Like I creatively, like I have a lot to put out there, and it doesn't tamper me down. I trust myself, and so yeah.
Yeah, do you think the Saturn Venus conjunction in Pisces hampers your creativity or enhances, or what do you think in general, Jay-Z?
I kind of think it hampers it because of the mood that I feel when it's activated.
Yeah.
And I hear what you're saying from like a remediation standpoint is you don't just like, uh, let yourself get like mired in it, right? You figure out how, especially if it is like a natal thing, like, yeah. So how do you best know yourself?
But if you feel like writing computer code, I think the thing there would be creating a meaningful project that involves computer code because
Yeah.
What one thing I've learned about art is, you can do the intrinsic value of like I feel like coding and that's intrinsic. But you and I talked about this, like if it has an extrinsic value also, then it's bomb. Then it's like all killer, no filler. You know what I mean? We don't want any like filler code. We want like killer code. Like, so what are you coding? Like maybe you build an album out of code, or do something Venusian out of code or something. But it would have to be something meaningful to you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I came up with a good idea. So we'll see how far I get on it.
Nice.
Who else has an existential issue?
Not today.
Every day. every day.
Keeping it close to the heart.
I don't know if it's because when you get older or whatever, it's just like I don't know where the days go. I swear to God, I wake up and I'm like, what is today? What is today? We don't watch TV anymore, so I used to go by like, oh yeah, last night I watched this, so it's this. I have no idea. The days just fly by, and it's like always busy, always busy, always busy. Between I have the dog, I have the house, I have my husband who is he has Parkinson's, and and then astrology stuff, and like it's like there's just, and then meditation and journal writing and then making meals, and then all of a sudden it's like time to go to bed. Okay, we'll do this again tomorrow. I don't know.
Your class you're teaching starting Monday, Debbie?
Monday, yeah. I'm you know what? Every year I tweak it a little bit more and add more, and I switch some of the slides around, and I get prepared, and so I'm in pretty good shape with it. I'm ready for my classes on Monday. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
Is that Society of Princeton, or what is it?
Well, I do it on their platform because that's what I've always done it with them. They hosted me for like since 2009. So I've been doing this gig with them. And so I still do it on their platform because I feel like that's my home base. That's where I learned everything. That's, Ken Negus was amazing. I did not realize that he was like royalty in astrology, and he always supported me. He always was a great mentor for me. So I'm really excited about. I have some students have already registered for the class, so I'm really excited about this. So
what is the topic, or
I teach beginners astrology, and a lot of my people,
Cool.
People that know me, they go, why are you doing, that? You could do something more advanced. I said, I get a big thrill out of people who are just starting and they're like, it's like kindergartners, they're really like, so I want to learn this. They're so hungry and thirsty to learn astrology. And it's just such an honor, to be teaching people who just want to learn astrology. So it makes me really happy.
I taught a class for teenagers at our homeschool co-op, and it was a very popular class. We called it Astro Explorers, so that our hosting Baptist church would not get mad. And we
cool.
dove into astrology, and it was really fun to see the kids. We didn't dive in too crazy, but yeah, to see them kind of like light up and start identifying things. We made little face masks for their ascendant.
Oh, that's so cool. I do miss doing it in person, but I had to, and it was a whole new gig when COVID hit. I had to learn Zoom. I didn't even know anything about Zoom. I knew how to spell it. That was pretty much it. And I didn't know what to do with it. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to learn how to do this. It's been a lot of learning new stuff. Do you do perfections at all? Do you guys do perfections? Yeah. So last year was my 9th house. So it was a very big learning. And now this is my last certification. So now I'm hoping that I reach the golden ring at the top. So I'm in the 10th house this year for my perfection, and like, yeah.
Okay. We're celebrate when you get your NCGR level 4.
Yeah.
Celebrate. So Jenna, I have a question for you, an evolutionary question.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm a teleological astrologer, which is the ancient art of, it's the ancient development theory upon which ancient Hellenistic astrology was built, which is, the idea that your chart is like your soul's development, obviously. But so evolutionary astrology does this soul development thing of like the nodes, like, okay, so your north and south node. But like, okay, I'm not saying teleology wins or anything, but I just want to like have a little bit of like a conversation about like how in some ways I feel like evolutionary is like missing something because it attributes like all of your evolution to just the nodes when teleology gives all of your evolution to every planet in the chart.
Okay. Well, it's basically saying that like we can look at it as like your past lives and your habits that you're coming in with, and that's the node as well, the south node as well as the south node ruler and any of the aspects that are being made to it. So it can pull in other planets, and it says like either you got something wrong or maybe you didn't get something wrong but you paid a big price for it, so you're kind of healing those wounds and trying things a little differently in this lifetime. And as you move towards your north node, there's different things that you're going to be addressing that all kind of tie into the story. So like we still look at Pluto as part of that south node wounding. We still look at that as like, okay, something went wrong and that's tied to the story as well. And then Saturn, okay, this could be some sort of a blockage, and maybe that blockage is something that you either self-preservation or something like that. That blockage became necessary or reinforced in that past life. So we need to move through that too.
Mm.
Kind of makes sense.
So the other planets are tied in, but it's still that nodal axis that creates like the development story.
Yeah. So like earlier when we were talking about like the fear of kind of merging legally for insurance purposes, my south node is in Libra in the 7th. So when you guys were talking, I was like, I have never had a fear of merging, almost to a fault. But that's because I came in with this habit of codependency is not scary. It's actually a lifeline. Like, so thinking about it like that. And then, so, you know, the term skipped step, it's okay. So like the square to the nodes, mine's Mercury. So kind of like uncovering like, well, how do I speak my own truth? How do I, and mine's in Cancer, how do I connect with my emotions in a way that allows me to move through that and start gaining that enlightened selfishness that an Aries first house north node would want?
You know, what's so interesting? So my south node is in Aries, and I have Mars in the 2nd square the sun. And so like I come in as an aggressive, like independent person making all my own money, like Mars in 2nd, like I just rage making money, like so that I cannot be controlled. Basically, like Shane used to try to buy me dinner. I'd be like, yeah, no, thanks. I'll buy my own dinner and be emotional on you later. Like I like that's my Aries south node, but then I have a Pluto north node conjunction in Libra. So I'm like intensely trying to move towards this north node of like trying to learn to merge, you know? And so it's interesting. That's interesting.
But it's scary too, because in moving towards that north node, you're also moving towards Pluto. And when we look at the aspects of towards the south node with Pluto opposing it, it means there was some force in a past life wearing kind of the energy of Pluto, which is very hellish, potentially violent. And that was kind of completely blocking you from whatever it was that you needed. And if your north node is in the 5th house, so then you want to add in the context of that there was some sort of 5th house context in which this Pluto was playing out and kind of pushing you into that south node space, not allowing you to move, not allowing you to integrate into your Libra.
What does skipped step mean?
A square to the nodes.
Okay.
It's Jeffrey Wolf Green's term.
Gotcha.
I was trained by the other side.
I have a Pluto square so Pluto is like a 5-degree orb, but it's square my nodes.
Yeah, so you would have to move through your Pluto stuff, Pluto wounding. So that transformation, that cycle of surrender and rebirth. And once you conquer that, the north node becomes more available.
So what's the skip step mean in the life? Do you skip, like, how does
it's something you messed up, like passed over, skipped, didn't address properly in the past life, and it was so either unaddressed or so hurtful that you really need to work on that before you can get to the next, before you can move forward. It's almost like the opposite of the way we address a T-square, because you know how in a T-square you want to work the base, like in any aspect pattern, you don't want to work on the apex, you want to work the base. So, but in the skip step in evolutionary astrology, you actually do want to work that focal planet.
So Laura would want to work on her Pluto?
Yeah. Whatever that
Get
looks
to work,
like.
Laura.
I know. I think I am.
Work on your Pluto.
The tough one. I'm sorry.
Intensely merged. Yeah.
You know, my north node is in Taurus in my 2nd house, and this circles back around to my lawyer saying, like, trying to prevent me from giving all my money away all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of Taurus north nodes are really, they're trying to heal. Like you went through something really hellish with that Scorpio South Node in a past life, and this is kind of about like restoring faith in the human experience.
Well, in this life, I saw him do it twice. The South Node's an 8, so it's like just giving all your money to your partner. Like, sorry, I'm all airing your dirty laundry, Jay-Z.
Oh, that's so good. It's not really dirty.
We pretty much have a contract of openness.
Yes, yes.
I'm not naming names or anything. Don't think I'll air you guys' dirty laundry. Like, you guys don't have the same contract of openness. Yeah.
I don't think you could air mine any harder than I've already aired mine, so don't worry about
Dude,
it.
I like that about you. Like it's like when people befriend you and you're in show business and then they want to tell you a bunch of secrets. You're like, you should tell someone else your secrets because like I live on camera. Let's not do that. Like I can't remember what's what. Like, I mean, I can, but not really. You know.
Yeah, I generally don't even think things are secrets. So when people are like, "Don't tell anyone," but like, you know, I farted in the grocery store. I'm like, really? That's your secret? Like, I go on podcasts talking about the craziest shit. So, okay.
No, but Jay-Z, don't you think that North Node in the second in Taurus would be like accumulating your own wealth? Like,
yeah,
the less
absolutely. Like that's my struggle is to like feel like I really deserve the things that I have earned. And that I can have like a stylish and comfortable house that promotes my own creativity and growth.
Or two of them, or two houses.
Yeah, or a couple, whatever.
Maybe that's why Venus is so difficult, this Venus Saturn, because it is your North Node ruler. This is big stuff for you in this lifetime.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Debbie, where's your North Node?
My North Node is in Sagittarius in the 3rd house. And to me, that just underscores that I'm in the right, doing the right thing. I am teaching an advanced subject to beginners.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Sag on 3.
Yeah, so I think I got that one right.
Yeah.
It's not squaring anything, so, you know, that's a pretty good thing.
Nice.
Well, is your Mercury squaring anything?
My Mercury is not squaring anything, but it is making some interest. It makes an opposition to my Mars. It makes a sextile to my Neptune, and it does no, not to the Saturn. It's making a sextile to the Saturn in Scorpio.
Yeah, because we look at the South Node ruler as more information too. So South Node and Gemini.
Yeah, yeah, and that's my most elevated thing in my chart.
Oh,
what
really?
degree is it?
Yeah, my South Node. And,
you better stay in your past life then.
What degree is it? I'm just curious.
3 degrees.
Oh, okay. My son is 8. Curious.
Yeah.
Well, our time's up today, but so we can be as structured or as loosey-goosey as people want. I like to come with at least like a few subjects to talk about, but maybe I'll have like 5 or 6 subjects just in case we get, you know, dead air or something like that. But, you know, feel free to think of topics you guys want to bring to the table too. This is a place where you can actually get your real life questions answered as we did today. We got a few real lifers, you know, going on. So, yeah, Laurel, thank you for coming. I've missed you. I hope that
I missed you too. I had a lot of fun. I'm glad that you invited me.
Do you want us to invite you next week?
Yeah. I'm going to try to get some other astrologers that are our friends to come too, because I think they'd like it.
Awesome. You can be a regular with us.
I like that.
Nice. All right. We got another regular. There's 5 of us now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
You
Bye.
too.
Bye.
Bye.